2003, I was fortunate enough to be at the opening ceremony for the World Cup in South Africa. And my parents, en route, of course, stopped over in Dubai, and I said, again, going to meet that gentleman, the cricket nut? And they said, yes, not only have we gone to meet him, but we've gone to see the germs of what's a cricket museum being built there. And it was just the starting. There was nothing like what you see over here. It was just a personal collection blossoming into what was to happen many years later. And I kind of said, okay, I'm sure. I mean, I've got a few things in my bedroom. And they said, no, this is a little bigger than that. So I've been to a few museums around the world, and I'm sure so many of you have. I know there are a few folks here from London. There's a museum in Lords. There's my personal favorite, which is the museum in Bowral. And I always say to people who ask, where do you go for a cricketing pilgrimage? I said, you've got to go to the museum that belongs to the two Dons. And they always ask me, two Dons? I thought there was only one. I said, no, there was one. He was called Donald Bradman. His museum is in Bowral. There's another Don called Shyam Bhatia. His museum's in Dubai. Go and see that. So without further ado, again, let me once again welcome all of you to what is really a very, very special evening. I'm fortunate here to come for the first time. I've seen videos, photographs, heard stories about all the other 16 editions, and finally I've railroaded my way and come here for the 17th edition. Better late than never. So I'd like to invite a few people for a start on stage. Please, could you please welcome Mr. Abdul Rahman Falaknaz, the chairman of the Dubai Cricket Council, on stage. Joining him on this wonderful dais from the Dubai Sports Council, Mr. Ghazi Al Madani. Welcome, sir. And before calling up the second Don, there's one other person I need to call up, and I must again quickly add a little brief anecdote. I was in Delhi in the last 1 week, and I attended a book launch, and I was at another function talking about the history of cricket. And it had nothing to do with one particular country, but there was always one name that kept coming up. And the book launch I went to was all about the impact that cricketers have had on the game of cricket. You've seen many legends, you've seen great cricketers, but this specific book was talking about impact. And there was only one name that kept coming up. When it came to the function about the history of cricket, again, when you trace the history, only one name kept coming up. And even when the younger generation who were present at the function kept saying Virat Kohli, somehow that name kept coming up. But the whole ethos, the whole point of the function turned towards when and if Virat Kohli can ever become Vivian Richards. So without further ado, please welcome the legend. There are some great cricketers and there are a few legends. Sir Isaac Vivian Alexander Richards. And the conclusion they drew, yes, you can have an impact on the game, but if you can add impact and a bit of style, then you have the complete package that stands here on stage. And of course, to bring up the rear, the host, it's a wonderful setting here. And now, for this evening, rename the Don, Mr. Shyam Bhatia. Thank you, gentlemen. Unlike usual captains, the batting order in this case is in my hands. So I'd like to request Mr. Falaknaz to please come up first and address the gathering. Sir.
Assalamu alaikum. Assalamu alaikum. Good evening. Your Excellency, Mr. Ghazi Al Madani from Dubai Sports Council. Our legend, Sir Vivian Richards. And of course, Gautam called him the Don, I call him Shyam Bhai. Shyam Bhatia. On behalf of Dubai Cricket Council, ladies and gentlemen, board members of the cricket councils in the UAE, I welcome you to the 17th Shyam Bhatia Awards. Talking about Shyam Bhatia, we've been doing on this for the last 16 years, so this is the 17th year. So we have to get something new talking about Shyam Bhatia, who is not only a nut, as Gautam said, but I think he's the nut and bolt of cricket. And the passion that he has for cricket